Hello and welcome to the Gavel. I'm Terry Ikumi. Let's begin by informing you that while the Senate continues to hold plenary thrice weekly, the House of Representatives now sits once a week. And according to the House, it is a safety protocol against the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, our first report takes a look at how federal lawmakers reacted to the recurring issue of insecurity, especially the kidnap of students of Government Science School, Kagara in Niger State. The Senate is asking President Buhari to declare a state of emergency on insecurity in the country and is also working on a legislation which will impose stiffer punishments for illegal possession of firearms in Nigeria. Meanwhile, the House is cautioning public officers against unguarded statements capable of escalating the already tense atmosphere in the country. On the 14th of May 2014, Boko Haram terrorists abducted more than 200 schoolgirls from Government Secondary School, Chibok, Borno State. On February 19, 2018, the terrorists kidnapped 110 schoolgirls from the Government Girls Science and Technical College, Dapchi, Yobe State. December 11, 2020, more than 300 schoolboys were kidnapped in Kankara, Katsina State. All these and the recent abduction of students from the Government Science College, Kagara, Niger State, on Wednesday, the 16th of February 2021, is a painful reminder of the dismal state of insecurity in the country and the penchant of terrorists and criminal gangs to target schools in the northern part of the country. During Wednesday's plenary session in the Senate, the three senators representing Niger State poured out their frustrations over the unrest in their state.
Concerned that, like the other incidents of school children abduction that took place in Chibok and Dapchi several years back, if no immediate action is taken to rescue Kagara school students, their fate may be sealed in the hands of terrorists. And further worried that Niger, Katsina, and many other states in northwest and north-central Nigeria are now bedeviled by bandits' attacks. The bandits kill and kidnap at will. That's why the large deployment of officers and soldiers to the affected areas. Note also, on Sunday, the 14th of February 2021, many commuters and passengers numbering over 57 were abducted in Kundu, all within the same area in Rafi local government of Niger State, and till now they have not yet been released.
Can we rightly say that this government, I am sorry to say, that this government is incompetent in handling the security challenges in this country? Are we going to amend the Nigerian Constitution to give more powers to the governors who are the chief security officers of their various states? Because our government at the center is showing incompetence in handling security challenges. Let each one of us here imagine that it is his son or his daughter that has been kidnapped.
It appears very obviously that the success these kidnappers and bandits got emboldened them to go into this particular school, Kagara Science Secondary School.
Urge the President, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR, to, as a matter of urgency, declare a state of emergency on insecurity in Nigeria. Those in favor of prior to say aye. Those against any die.
Also in the Senate, the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in Nigeria was raised. A federal lawmaker proposed the amendment of the Firearms Act, which he says is intended to provide for the destruction of firearms illegally brought into the country, and also offers stiffer penalties for illegal possession of firearms in the country.
Analysts estimated that out of 500 million weapons that may be circulating in West Africa, 350 million, which represents 70% of such weapons, can be found in Nigeria. We therefore need a legislation that will provide for stringent punishment to deter perpetrators of these illegalities. Objectives of the proposed amendment be to provide for stipulated time within which the destruction of the unserviceable firearms must be carried out, except where there is a valid court order to the contrary. To prefer an effective, coordinated, and sustained legislative strategy to address the underlying factors encouraging the circulation of arms and concurrently block the outlets through which illicit firearms are proliferated.
Lawmakers wholly supported the move.
As long as we have porous borders, that whether no matter how effective we have the legal framework, we'll continue to have these issues. As long as some people feel threatened, some groups, because make no mistake about it, it's not just the criminal elements that are buying guns. You have some communities finding their ways of buying guns for self-preservation. Why? Because they think that the Nigerian state is not protecting them.
Meanwhile, like the Senate, the issue of insecurity was a source of worry for lawmakers in the House of Representatives. What was even more worrying for them was that public officers who should be responsible for dousing the tension and maintaining the peace seemed to be the ones fanning the flame. To address this, a motion of urgent public importance was raised, which was directed at state governors, specifically the governor of Bauchi State, Bala Mohammed, over his statement on the 13th of February, justifying why herdsmen should bear arms.
Aware that the Constitution does not grant any individual or group of people the right to bear sophisticated arms, but only a licensed sophisticated shooting range. Concerned further that if all public officials, regardless of their positions or status, are not cautioned against inciting or provoking the general public.
Silence, please. Silence, please.
The already tense situation in the country will lead to open hostilities.
Meanwhile, the Speaker of the House is not oblivious of the influence which some Nigerians hold and how effective that influence can be for nation building and promoting security.
I urge all of those who have large followership of people who listen to them and respect their voices to be more circumspect about the information they share, the language they use, and the conversations they enable. And to political leaders, let me reiterate that we have a greater responsibility to keep the peace in our country. And to do that, we must first commit ourselves to the cause of equal justice and fair treatment for all.
Still on security, Zamfara state federal lawmakers are asking the federal government to offer amnesty to the repentant bandits in the Northwest. They made this request during a briefing with journalists at the National Assembly.
It is our belief that the federal government should offer amnesty to those repentant bandits in the Northwestern region, because we are convinced that these repentant bandits will be encouraged to contribute positively to society. This conviction comes on the heels of similar success recorded in the Niger Delta, when the late President Umaru Musa Yar'Adua granted amnesty to repentant bandits in that region.
The Minister of Defense, Bashir Magashi, is giving Nigerians the assurance that the armed forces under the leadership of the new service chiefs are fully aware of their constitutional role of protecting the nation. He made the statement when he led service chiefs to the House of Representatives Committee on Defense for their screening. And speaking to journalists afterwards, the Defense Minister urged Nigerians not to be cowards but confront bandits. Well, that statement has been receiving reactions, mostly negative, with some calling for his removal. Take a listen. A week after the President's letter to the House of Representatives seeking confirmation of the service chiefs, the Committees on Defense, Army, Navy and Air Force received the security heads led by the Minister of Defense.
Nigeria as a country is blessed with brave and gallant soldiers, many of whom have paid the supreme price in service to the country. It is to their memories that we must get it right with our national security and help secure the peace for which they lost their lives. From the inception of this ninth House of Representatives, national security has been discussed more than 200 times at plenary. Yet the nation is still grappling with diverse and increasing security challenges, despite some successes recorded by the gallant men and women of our armed forces.
Let me assure you that the armed forces of Nigeria today are fully aware of its constitutional role, and we are prepared more than ever before to subordinate the military to the civil authority. That we will do in order to promote the cohesion and national unity in the country. I have no doubt that those selected or those nominated by Mr. President will no doubt make this country very proud.
One after the other, the nominees who had at some point been at the forefront of the insurgency stated their readiness for the task ahead and the plans they have.
Visions are meant for institutions and not for individuals. But of course, as a military commander, I intend to have a leadership focus and philosophy on outlining the broad areas. And to this, I intend to see a very professional armed forces, an armed forces that is effective, an armed forces that is agile, an armed forces that is result-oriented, and of course, that is loyal to constituted authority.
I want a Nigerian army that is repositioned to professionally defeat all adversaries in a joint environment. Emphasis will be particularly on whole of government approach and whole of society approach, where each and every Nigerian will be part of the security architecture to bring an end to our current problems. The vision is undergirded within the command philosophy on specific pillars: readiness, duty to country, dependability, and continuous leadership development.
I need a great deal of the loyalty, cooperation, commitment, knowledge, and skills of all officers, ratings, and civilian staff of the Nigerian Navy, and my goal is to optimally harness this for the benefit of the service and the nation. If confirmed as the Chief of the Naval Staff, I intend, as my vision, to leverage on all factors of national location, technology, training, teamwork, and synergy to re-energize the Nigerian Navy and enhance her as a well-motivated and ready naval force in the discharge of her constitutional mandate and other tasks in fulfillment of national security objectives.
The mission of the Nigerian Air Force is to ensure the integrity of airspace by gaining and maintaining control of the air while retaining a credible capability to fulfill other air power tasks demanded by national defense and security imperatives. From this mission of the Nigerian Air Force, I have carved out my focus to enhance and sustain critical air power capability required for joint force employment in pursuit of national security imperatives. And I have the key drivers for this vision. I will be focusing on doctrinal development and application of air power in joint military operations.
The Minister of Defense, Major General Bashir Magashi, retired, while speaking with journalists, said Nigerians should not be cowards when attacked by bandits, but should stand up to them and show that they are not afraid. The minister also stated clearly that he does not support the calls for legalization of firearms for Nigerians.
Is it the responsibility of the military alone? It's the responsibility of everybody to keep alert and find safety when necessary. But we shouldn't be cowards. At times, the banditry will only come with about 3 rounds of ammunition. When they fire shot, everybody runs. In our younger days, we stand to fight any aggression coming to us. I don't know why people are running away from minor thing like that. They should stand and let these people know that even the villagers, they have the competence and capability to defend themselves. But our own duty is to ensure no Nigerian is hurt and we're capable of protecting the integrity of this nation. And we will continue to do it even though we are so stretched. You know, this is an issue where probably even in the developed countries, they are still debating on it, whether to continue or not. But I don't advise Nigeria to start using firearms for personal use.
Welcome back to the Gavel. Our next report is on the screening of the former defense chiefs at the Senate, where the immediate past Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, warned that it will take Nigeria at least 20 years to resolve the security challenges confronting the country. The immediate past service chiefs nominated by President Muhammadu Buhari as non-career ambassadors were at the Senate on Thursday for their screening. The former Chief of Army Staff painted an ominous picture of the level of insecurity in the country and how much time it may take to decimate the insurgents.
They have penetrated the communities They have won the communities to their side. That's why you see small hamlets, 1 or 2 people, still you see them hibernating or keeping Boko Haram in those locations. So it's a complex. So it requires a whole of government approach to deal with this. Development should be progressive. There should be roads everywhere. There should be employment. There should be hospitals, schools, all over. Because this thing cannot end. I predicted sometimes that it may take another 20 years, and that is the truth.
The immediate past chiefs of defense staff and defense intelligence raised alarm over the danger in the forests across the country and also the poor response to intelligence information.
I said then 3 years ago that our next crisis will be in the forest. We had to protect the forest.
What is happening in the Northeast is not lack of intelligence, but giving intelligence is something. Managing that intelligence is also something. I will give an example. The intelligence for Dapchi, before the incident, before the kidnap of the Dapchi incident, there was an intelligence report that emanated from my agency. I think it was not managed properly and that incident happened. Because when you give an intelligence, we expect the troops to move headlong and engage them before they get to their target. But that is not what is applicable in the Northeast. And why is this so? Because of the conditions of the roads.
Committee members questioned the former chief of the air staff on the equipment paid for to fight terrorists and operational tactics.
As at 26th of January 2021, 7 of those Super Tucanos have been produced in the U.S. And we have up to about 54 personnel of the Air Force that are currently in the U.S. We have also prepared the base where the Super Tucano aircraft will be based in, which is in Kainji. We have prepared accommodation for the pilots, instructor pilots, the Americans coming in, and everything is in place to ensure that we receive this aircraft. Our plan, as at the time I left, was that the Super Tucanos, the first 6, will arrive in Nigeria in July 2021, which is just a few months from now. Like I said, the pilots have been training, and therefore they are quite comfortable, and by the time they arrive with the aircraft, I believe that they will add a lot of value to what is going on. That is with regards to the Super Tucano.
Nigeria is on course to achieve complete elimination of gas flaring by 2025. Well, that's according to the Minister of State for Petroleum, Timipre Silva. He was speaking at the public hearing of the House of Representatives on gas flaring. Also, the Senate is asking the Nigeria Customs Service to stop concessioning of import duty. That's contained in our final report.
The Speaker of the House of Representatives, who was represented by the Chairman House Committee on Judiciary, promised that the 9th House of Representatives will resolve the policy disagreements and other issues that have mitigated against the effective utilization of gas resources.
We have not managed to end the environmental damage that results from gas flaring, and we are still deprived of the economic benefit of full utilization of gas resources in our country. In this 9th House of Representatives, we intend to do everything we can to change this narrative.
The hearing was also to investigate the devastation caused by gas flaring and the level of regulatory compliance by multinationals in the petroleum upstream sector.
At current estimate by PricewaterhouseCoopers, Nigeria loses over $750 million in annual revenue from the flared gas.
The Ministry of Petroleum is especially committed to the elimination of gas flaring by 2025. Today, we have actually reduced gas flaring significantly to a very minimal level of 8%.
We have what we call the Kwale cluster of flare gas. It makes about 200 million scoop of gas the day of flare. By the end of March, this will vanish because we are going to end connecting all the lines that will take this into our trunk line, and automatically it goes away.
In our own presentation in the PI bill, we made it clear that 10% equity
shareholding will guarantee the critical assets. You are not talking of your gains alone, but we should be partners in progress. By having a partner in progress, the critical assets will be secured. Oil companies are talking of their gain and losses. You are not considering the pain of the host communities.
Meanwhile, the House Committee on Public Accounts is questioning the NNPC over illegal withdrawal of $221 million.
The NNPC expended the sum of $30.9 million through Nigerian Gas Limited funding account. The Auditor General has queried that what is the benefit of this account to the Federation? Similarly, the sum of $198 million amounting to, unpaid gas revenue, and the Auditor General has listed the companies that ought to have paid this sum and the various sums against their name. Clerk, please invite these companies to cause appearance. We can't shave their head in their absence. In your letter to the GMD, you should also provide reasons for setting up Nigerian Gas Limited. Until now, we are not even aware that that company existed.
The Controller General of Customs, Colonel Hamid Ibrahim Ali, appeared before the Senate Committee on Customs to defend the agency's 2021 budget. The agency is proposing a budget expenditure of 242.45 billion naira for the 2021 fiscal year. According to him, the agency is targeting a 2021 revenue generation of 1.465 trillion naira.
When compared with the approved revenue target for the same period, January to December 2019, the service surpassed its target by 114.78 billion, or 10.47%. The service also collected the sum of 350.63 billion as VAT on imports from January to December 2020, thereby bringing the total collection of customs for the year 2020 to 1.562 trillion for the period under review.
The customs boss lamented that the scanners at the various customs scanning sites are not functioning and contributes to the service's inability to carry out effective examination for selective consignments.
Despite services anti-smuggling drive, the nation's borders remain largely porous, which leads to smuggling activities. As you are aware, Mr. Chairman, we have one of the longest land borders, bordering 4 or 5 countries, and this is a big problem. We have continuously put this across to government that there's less government presence at these border communities. They are not enjoying anything from government, and therefore to get their loyalty and commitment in the way we want, so that we can get information and they will help us in fighting smuggling, is always difficult.
The Senate Committee, on its part, took a swipe at the agency over its concessioning of collection of import duties.
We are not going to approve new project of capital project for this 2021. It should come along. We have the staff nominal role. You sent it to us before. They can even come with the comprehensive one. We have the one they sent to us before last year. You can come with it. With that one, we can work out the personnel cost. Then on the question of this 91 billion, the ongoing project, which is part of this 91 billion, if you total them, it gives you about 58 billion. So you see, has about 30-something billion not accounted for. So that's why I was telling my colleagues that recruitment could be part of it. Then other payments that were not captured here should be outlined, so that we now look at what make up this 91 billion. That is to be by Monday. So if we don't get that one, we are not going to approve the current capital for 2021. And we are still going to deduct the training, this recruitment for 2021 from the budget.
That's the Gavel this week. To send feedback to thegavel@channelstv.com. I'm Terry Ikumi. Goodbye.